In this tutorial, I am going to show you how you can use circos to visualize microbial genome. So in this tutorial, we are going to visualize the GC content, that is this one here, and then the GC skew of a bacterial genome. We are going to use M-Trans AG199. So that's what we are going to do. So this is the GC content. That's what we call the GC plots. We also have the GC skew. So basically, with the GC plot and the GC skew, what happens is that this organism, it has one chromosome, by the way. So various regions of the chromosome are taken. Okay, the sequences in those regions, I use Python to compute the GC contents and then the GC skew for those regions, and then everything was saved in a file, and then that file was placed in circos. So I am basically going to show you how I did it. So by the end of this tutorial, you also know how to generate a plot like this using circos. So just stay tuned. So let me also take you through the paper that I'm trying to reproduce, or we are going to reproduce, by the way. So I am basically trying to reproduce the figure that was given in this paper. I'll leave the link to this page in the description box, by the way. So this is it. I think I have the PDF on my PC. I will show that. So this is the original figure that I'm trying to reproduce. So the blue and then the red circles are the forward and the reverse CDS strands. And we also have the black, which is the insertion sequence elements regions. And we also have the GC plots and then the GC skew. So I am visualizing the GC plot and the GC skew. In another tutorial, I'll try to add these other ones. So today we are taking it simple. So that's what we are going to do. Now with circos, there are lots of tutorials on the website. So what I did was to look at the tutorial for microbial genome, and then I look at the configurations here, and then I extracted the ones that I need. I adapted what was here. So basically, I just took what is here, modified them to suit my needs. So you should also try and then reproduce the tutorials, and once you do that, you'll be able to get an understanding of how circos works, and you can use that to also generate your own plot. So that's the advice I have for you. But today we are going to take it simple. Okay, let's proceed. So I already have the materials available. The materials are here. Okay, I have all the materials here. So I will leave a link in the description that you can use to download the materials we are going to use for this tutorial. So with the materials, the GC content, the GC skew, and then the karyotype. These ones I use a Python script to extract that from this file, this genbank file here. Okay, so this genbank file here, I got it from NCBI. This is the page you can get the genbank file. So when you're here, just go to send to, go to check the complete record, and then when you come to file, click it, and then you can select the format you want, genbank, and then download it, and then you can use some Python scripts to extract the information. So basically, with such data sets, it's important that you use some programming tools to extract the information, because the information is a lot, and so it becomes very challenging trying to manually extract or process the information. So that is why I have my Python script to help me do that. But just check the description box, you'll find all the materials for this tutorial there. So just do that. And if you also want to reproduce it using your own data sets, you can always contact me, then we can work something out. So I'll extract the content now. Try to also download the materials. So I'm going to extract them now. I have done that. So this is the GC content. I'll open it. This is it. This is it. So there's the chromosome, and then I have the regions of the sequence, and then the GC contents. That is it. The same thing applies to the GC skew. So Python will generate the GC skews for the regions, and then also format the data properly and then save it for you. So that's what I did. So there's the script. So just get all the materials and you'll be fine. So in addition to this and then this and then this, you also need to make sure you have this one, this, and then this. You need all these files. Okay, so in total you need 8 files. If you download the materials and you extract, you should have 8 files in them. Okay, let's just check again. 3, 6, 8. Yeah, so you need 8 files. Okay, we will generate some additional files, but these ones are important, so that's why I had to prepare them beforehand. But the rest I will take you through them, then you try to follow. Okay, you also need to make sure you have circos installed, by the way. So just make sure you have circos installed. I will leave the link to the circos page also in the description box. So that's it. So without further ado, let's start the exercise. Okay, we are now going to generate the plots. The plots are going to be generated in stages because I want you to have a feel of the process. Okay, so before we generate the plots, we need to also specify a configuration file. I repeat, before we generate the plot, we need to specify a configuration file. The files are not here, so we are going to generate them here. Okay, so the configuration file aggregates all the information, and then circos will pick that file and then use the information to generate the plot. So that's why we need that file. So we will generate it here. So that's what we are going to do. I'm also going to explain some stuff here, by the way, so just stay tuned. I'll first open my terminal and then do some exploration. It's important. I'll just check. You don't need to do this, by the way. I'm just doing it so that those who will love to also explore can just do that. So ls just to check the files. I'll do a head gc skew just to get some files here, some information here. I'll also do a head gc contents just to get some information here as well. That's it. So that's basically about it. We will come back to the command line. So for now, I'll close it. Then I'm going to create the config file or configuration file. So I'll open it here. I'll open a new test file and then I'll create that there. So I'll open a new test file. So we will start. So with circos, there are some files that you always need to specify. Okay, one of them is the ideogram or ideogram, whichever one you call it. So we need to specify that. So I'll give that command here. So I'll give this and I'll say include and I'll say ideogram.conf and then I'll close it. So what I'll recommend is that you make sure that you save all the files you are going to generate in this directory, the directory which has the downloaded files. Make sure you have everything in it. Okay, so that is why we don't need to specify the path. Okay, if you take a look at what I have here, I just specify the file name because I'm going to save everything in the same directory. Okay, this configuration file, I'm going to save it in the same directory as this ideogram.conf, which is here, this one here. So that is why I just specified that. But if it's in a different directory, you have to specify the path to that, but try to get everything here so that you avoid specifying the paths, entire paths to the files. Okay, so there's the ideogram. That's the first thing we included. Let me just go back here. This is it, but let's take a look at it here. We can open it. This is it. Here's the ideogram. So it has settings, and that will be used to display the chromosome and then the regions in that chromosome, the ones that we want to display. So if you go to the circos page, let's go there, you have the information about the ideograms. Okay, so just make sure you read the information here. Okay, because with circos it can be challenging, learn it, but try to read the information here and then try to adapt the tutorials so you can make some changes just little changes and then see the outcome. And then once you do that, you become used to the circos environment and you can use that to generate your own plot. So just check that. So I'll try to explain some key things, but explaining the entire circos environment is beyond the scope of this tutorial. I'm also learning, by the way. Every day I try to learn something new about circos. So every day is a school day. Okay, so that's a ideogram. So I have to define that in the config file or configuration file. That's the first line that we are going to add. Then we are also going to include the karyotype. So I will say karyotype equals karyotype.txt. Make sure the spelling is the same as what you see here. So the karyotype, let's take a look at it. The karyotype is this one here. This was also generated using Python. So it has the chromosome and then it also has the bands. Let's go back to the circos page and then look at some stuffs here. I think that will be helpful. There's a definition for it. Let's check. I'll duplicate it and then I will just check that. So we have the karyotypes here. So you can click this. Just visit this page. The link is here. It will be in the description box. So just go to karyotypes, and then once you are there, you'll be given a definition, okay, for the karyotype. So there's a format for karyotype. If it's a chromosome, there's how we define it, and then your other regions here too, you define it with the bands. That's what we have here. So I have chromosome and then bands. So in this tutorial, in this file, let's go back. We have just one chromosome which is here, and then these are the bands. Okay, these are all parts of the chromosome. So the bands here, take them or consider them as what? Regions in that chromosome. So that's why we have the start and then the end. So this one here is a band, and we are going to color it red. We are giving it the color. So that means circles, when it displays this region, we will have it displayed with the color red. So the same goes for all these ones. Okay, so that's the karyotype. Okay, so these things you need to write a script to generate them. Okay, because it depends on the data. So there's nothing like a standard value. You need to follow the format. So by the values, you have to specify the values that you want, and usually some of these values you have to do some experiments. I had to try to do some experiments before I came up with this values here. So you have to do that. And again, if you have any challenge, you can always let me know, and then I'll try to work it out with you. Okay, so that's it. So there's the karyotype. Okay, we are not modifying anything here, by the way, so don't modify anything here. Okay, ideogram, we are not going to modify anything here as well, but we are going to create our config file. That's the first config file we are going to create. Okay, so I'm just giving the instructions here, or the commands here, the configurations. Now we have our karyotype. We also need to specify some files. Okay, this contains default configurations that circos uses. So I wouldn't explain them. I'll skip the explanation, but I will just show you how to also include them. So one of them is the housekeeping.conf. So again, we have to bring our include, and then we have housekeeping.conf, and then we end it. We're also going to include colors, fonts, patterns. So we have include colors underscore fonts. Let's get the spelling right. Underscore patterns dot conf, and then we add another one, image. So this one we say image, and then next line we say include image.conf, and then we have image again. We'll close that site. Okay, so this is the first config file. So we will save it. Let's save it. So I'll just go to save as. I will save it in the same directory as the other files. So make sure you also do the same. So I will save it as, let me give the name here. So I'll give it the name config underscore stage1.conf. That is the name. Let's check it out. Okay, so this is the file. Okay, so let's look at what happens when we use this config file. So I'll open my terminal and then I'll call circos. Okay, so I'll say circos-conf, and then I'll specify that file, which is config underscore stage1.conf. So let's run this. So circos will work on it and then give us an image. So this is the image. Okay, this is the stage 1. That's what I call it. So this is it. So let's open the image and then we will see what has been given here. So this is the image. So this is the chromosome. Okay, this is what we define. Now let's take a look at the other character pattern that will help us to explain stuffs better. So let's look at the character, which is here. I'll just do that. I'll just put them side by side. So the sub regions here, these are the ones that have been defined by these ones here. So we have our main chromosome, which is everything, and we also have the bands, that's the sub regions. Okay, that's what we have here. Okay, I am still experimenting, by the way, so if there's any new information, I'll try to make a tutorial and then show that to you, but for now I'm just giving you what I have learned. So let's continue. So that's what we are. So there's stage 1. So we are laying the groundworks gradually. We are going to generate everything, but I just thought I'll show this one first and then we can continue because it's systematic. So that's the config underscore stage 1. That's what we have here. So that will give us this one here. Now let's add up to this one. Let's close this. We are going to add something else. We have everything, but we also want to what? Give subdivisions. We want to give some definitions and add some labels. So we are going to generate another file called config underscore stage 2. So I'll copy everything here. We will still need them. And then I'll open a new file. Let me just close this. I'll open a new file here. I'll paste and then I'll add. I'm going to add on to this one here. So let's see what we have. Okay, so we are going to proceed to stage 2. Let me just make it smaller. Yeah. So in stage 2, what we are going to do is to add Big Mac labels. So we are going to add labels in intervals of 1 MB. So we are going to generate something like this. Let's take a look at this PDF. So take a look at this figure here. We have these marks. Okay, these labels are the ticks. So what we are going to do, we are also going to add labels like this, but we will do it in intervals of 1 MB. That's what we are basically going to do. So we are going to include a file that has the configurations. So the file is here. That's the text.conf. Let's even open it. That's what we have here. So it has the information. So we have show testicles, yes, show tick labels, yes, etc. So all these things will help us to get those labels. Anyway, once we generate it, you will understand what I am saying. After generating the figure, you can also experiment with these values and then see which one works best for you. Okay, but for now, let's maintain it. So let's go back to our documents here. I'll do this. So I'll add the text.conf file. So I'll say include text.conf. And I'll add this also here. So I'll say chromosomes underscore units equals 10,000. And I'll say chromosomes underscore, it's chromosomes, yeah, underscore display underscore defaults equals yes. That's what we are adding. Let me add this comment here. So add Big Mac labels. That's it. So let's save this. So I'll save this in the same directory as the other files. And I'll name it as config underscore stage2.conf. That's been saved. So now let's open the terminal and then run circos. So I'll say circos-conf and I'll say config stage2.conf. So I'll run this. So this will generate the image for us. So the image that will be generated will replace the first one. That is the one for stage 1. So we have our new image here. So let's open it. So this is our new image. Okay, so we have that here. So notice how the labels has been done nicely for us. So there's what we want. Okay, you can always experiment, you can always customize. This is just to get you started. So you can just give any interval that you want. So I have them here. Okay, so let's continue. So we have our bands, we have our labels, and you can also see some sections and some units here, or whatever you want to call it. So like some subdivisions, let me just put it that way. And then we have our Big Mac labels. Okay, so this is for stage 2. Now we are going to add our GC plot and then GC skew. Okay, so let's do that now. So that will be stage 3. So stage 3, we are going to add the GC skew. We'll add this information. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So let's get started. So that means we'll have to generate another config file. So let's open another file. So in stage 3, we will use everything here. And then we will add on. So I'll copy this and I'll open a new document. So I'll paste this. And I'm going to add. So in stage 3, we are going to add a GC skew. So here, what we do is that we are going to add a plot function. So that's how we will do it. So I'll add that function here. So I'll start by saying plots, and then I'll say plots again. This is a subplot. This is the main one, and we have a subplot. So the subplots, let me also close them first. I just want to give the interval. So I'll do that here. Plots, and then I'll say plots, so that we have them done. So now in between, I'll put whatever I want to do now. Okay, so let me just try to format it properly for us. So this is where we'll put our plot commands, and this is the main plot function which needs to be there. So that's why I have it there. So you start and then you close it. So I've already done that, and I've also started this one. I have closed it. So in between this, we will put our function, our plot command. So make sure you have yours as this one here. Okay, so the plot we are going to generate is a histogram plot. So I'll say type, let me just put it here, type equals histogram, and then I'll indicate the file equals gc skew.txt. Then I'll add some settings. So I'll say color, which I want it to be blue, and then thickness, I'll say equals 1. You can modify it. Now I also have the radius. I have R1 or 0.6 R, and then I also have R0, which is equals to 0.7 R. Again, these values, there's nothing like a standard value. You always have to experiment, and you can get the correct value or the value that's is okay for you. So I have that. I'll also say orientation equals out. You can always modify this as well, but I'll keep it this way. Okay, so I have that done. So the GCSQ file is what we have here. We have already opened that. Okay, so that's what we are specifying in the config file. Let me add that here. It's supposed to be here. Let's check where the file is. Yeah, this one here. Okay, so we will save this one too. We will save it as state 3. So I'll save it. So that will be config underscore stage3.conf. It is done. So I'll open my circos. I'll run my circos. So that means I have to get my command line. I'll just use a new one, and I'll say circos-conf. I'll say config underscore stage3.conf. So I'll run this command. Perfect. So I have done that. Okay, so this will replace the previous image we generated. Okay, we have generated that image as well. So let's go and check it out. So let's see. Perfect. So you can see that's also here. Okay, so we have that here. Okay, now let's add the GC content. This is the GC skew. Let's add the GC content. So we'll go back again. And then we'll open a new one. This time that will be stage 4. So I'll copy everything here in stage 3. And then I'll open a new file. I'll paste them there. And then I'll add another plot function. So take note, this is a subplot. So we are adding another subplot. So that means it will have to be here. So we will create another subplot. Let me end it first. And then in between, I'll put my other plots. So this one is going to be the GC contents. So for that one, we'll still use the same histogram. So that will be type equals histogram. Then file equals gc content.txt. And then color, let's give it orange. And then thickness equals 1. Now let's add the radius. So I have R1 equals 0.89 R. I also have R0 equals 0.8 R. Now let's add orientation equals out. So we have that also done. Let's just check to make sure we have what we want. Okay, so it seems everything has been entered correctly. So now we can proceed. So I'll save this now. So that will be config underscore stage 4.conf. Okay, that has been saved. So now let's open our terminal and then run circos. So I'll say circos -conf. I'll say config underscore stage 4.conf. So let's execute this command. Perfect. So circos is working. So this image will also replace the previous one. Okay, circos has generated the figure. So let's take a look at it. So we have that here. So let's open it. Okay, perfect. So there we have it. So we have been able to generate a circus plot. So in this tutorial, what we did was to visualize the GC content and then the GC skew. Okay, so that's what we have here. So I am trying to make another tutorial in circus, and once I'm done with it, I'm also going to share on this channel. So make sure you come back and then check that video out. If you also have any comments, just leave them in the comment section and let's all have a discussion on it. So that'll be all for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next session.